An Orrington man previously on trial for attempted murder had that charge and others dropped today. In exchange, 36-year-old Jordan Bishop pleaded guilty to 3 remaining charges in connection with the 2019 downtown Bangor shooting. Bishop admitted to 3 felonies: elevated aggravated assault, reckless conduct with a dangerous weapon, and aggravated criminal mischief. The charges of aggravated attempted murder, and aggravated assault were dropped. Bishop will serve no additional prison time under the plea deal that a Penobscot County judge accepted today. In May 2019, Bishop shot and wounded another man outside a restaurant on Harlow Street, and his trial began in Bangor last week. On Friday, jurors said they were deadlocked and were supposed to resume deliberations this morning, but instead, lawyers reached a deal.
It appeared that at least one or maybe more of the jurors were prepared to exonerate this man for this egregious conduct, and that made us a little concerned. So we decided that we would enter into this agreement where he pled guilty to some serious felonies and put on probation for a long period of time.
Jordan is a really good guy, a veteran. He served his country. He suffers from PTSD, and the resolution we reached results in some serious convictions. He's got a lot of jail time hanging over his head, but the important thing is he can continue with his treatment. He has his freedom. He's on probation, so I think everything worked out well.
Bishop's sentence includes 6 years of probation and an order to pay up to $6,000 in restitution. He faces nearly 2 decades in prison if he violates that probation.